Welcome. Today we're going to decode the official policy that safeguards all of Nevada's state information. We're going to break down exactly how the state decides what data needs protecting and, why that matters to you. I mean, think about it for a second. You have all this information flowing into state agencies, from the incredibly sensitive stuff to the completely public. So how on earth does the state keep it all straight? And more importantly, keep it secure? Well, the answer really lies in this one clear, consistent system for sorting or classifying all that information based on just how sensitive it is. You can think of this process as the foundation for all data security in the state. And this right here is where it all begins. This official document, the statewide policy for data classification, is our source material today. It is literally the rulebook that creates a standard structure for every single executive agency in Nevada. So why go to all this trouble? Well, the sheer volume of information the state handles it's just staggering. I mean, from tax records to park permits, it's a massive and really complex digital landscape. And that gets right to the heart of the problem. Without a classification system, there's a real risk that your private information could be handled with the same low level of security as, say, a public press release. This policy is designed to prevent that exact scenario by creating clear, enforceable rules. It brings order to the chaos. To create that order, Nevada developed a 4-tier framework. The best way to think of it is as 4 different levels of security, and each one is tailored to the type of information it's protecting. Okay, so the backbone of this whole policy is these 4 levels. It starts with public, then it moves up to sensitive, then confidential, and finally it gets to the most secure level, restricted. Each tier has its own very specific rules and protections. First up is Tier 1, public. This is the stuff that's meant to be shared freely, like information you'd find on a public website. The policy's definition is simple. It's data where releasing it causes no potential for harm. And you've almost certainly seen this type of data yourself. We're talking about things like published job openings, agendas for public meetings, or datasets you can find on the state's open data portal. All of this is classified as Tier 1 public information. Okay, stepping it up a level, we get to Tier 2, sensitive. Now this covers internal government data. It's not top secret or anything, but it's also not meant for public consumption. Think of it as the routine, operational information that keeps an agency running day to day. This includes things like internal memos, draft policies that are still being worked on, or maybe some preliminary budget documents. It's all that day-to-day operational info that really needs to stay within the agency walls. All right, now we get to Tier 3, confidential. And here, the stakes get a lot higher. This is data that's protected by law or regulations, and if it gets out, it could cause real, substantial harm to people, to the agency, or to the state. This is where your most private data lives. We're talking about social security numbers, your medical records, credit card information, even driver's license numbers. All of this falls under the strict protection requirements of Tier 3. And finally, we reach the highest level, Tier 4, restricted. This isn't just about personal harm anymore. If this data gets out, it could cause severe damage to government operations, to public safety, or even violate federal security mandates. The data here is absolutely critical to state security. This tier includes things like FBI criminal history records, federal tax information, the state's own cybersecurity defense plans, and get this, even the encryption keys that protect all the other levels of data. Now, a policy is just a piece of paper, right? It's only as good as the people who enforce it. So that brings us to the question, who is actually responsible for all this? At the very top, you have the data owner. This is the agency or the department that has the official authority over a piece of information. They are the ones who are ultimately accountable for making sure it's classified and protected correctly. Working with the data owner is the data steward. This is the person who's on the ground, designated by agency leadership to handle the day-to-day work of implementing the policy and making sure the rules are actually followed. But here's the really key part. It's not just on a few people. The policy makes it crystal clear that everyone, every state employee, every contractor, every single person who handles state data has a duty to protect it, according to its classification. So, to help guide all of these decisions, the policy lays out some fundamental principles. You can think of them as the rules of the road for handling data. This first one is simple, but it's so powerful. When in doubt, protect it more. If there's any question at all about which tier a piece of data belongs in, you have to classify it at the more restrictive level until you know for sure. It's a better safe than sorry approach, plain and simple. And this one is just as important. If you create a report that mixes some public information with even one single piece of confidential data, guess what? The entire report has to be treated as confidential. The highest level of sensitivity always wins. So let's bring this all together. Why does a policy like this matter so much? Well, at the end of the day, it's about creating a trustworthy and secure system for everyone. So what are the key takeaways here? This policy creates a common language for data security, and it makes sure that the level of protection always matches the risk. By protecting the privacy of citizens in this really structured way, it ultimately builds a solid foundation of public trust in state government. And that leaves us with one final and pretty crucial question. This policy is a strong framework for today, no doubt, but our digital world is constantly changing. So you have to wonder, how will these rules need to adapt to protect us against the threats of tomorrow?